speaking to you from beautiful Philadelphia. Life started out as one-cell animals, and eventually organisms evolved. And what happened is that cells of the same living creature divided up the things they did well. So you had one cell that eventually became a liver cell. You had one cell that eventually became a brain cell, and they were part of the same living creature. But the survival strategy was not that all the cells became stronger in one way, but that they started becoming stronger in different ways that put together saved the colony of cells. And this happens in society too. Humans as social animals, we don't all become smarter in one way. We become smarter in different ways, and put together we end up being a great benefit to each other. So you have mathematicians, you have engineers, you have people with great social skills who can manage, and the list goes on and on. And artists play, I consider, one of the most important roles. Of course I would feel that way. What forms of intelligence do we have? One form, my favorite form, is imagining. Some people are great at math, we're very good at imagining. To be human is to have our wishes and needs turn into fantasies. So if we're in a situation, a competition of some sort, we imagine, we daydream, we fantasize about excelling in that competition, about winning it, about getting the prize. So there are different kinds of fantasies, and one of the most common is the power fantasy. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has fantasies of power. So a fantasy of power could be that we are the best player on the team, or that we are the most sought after and admired individual in the room, or that our spaceship has a technology that can make it go beyond the speed of light when all the other spaceships don't have that technology. Or there's a drought, but through speaking with some magical creature we find a secret spring with all the fresh water we could ever need year-round. So in order to have well-being, we need to daydream, we need to fantasize, we need to imagine playing off what our actual real-life needs are and real-life situations are. But the way some people aren't good at math, or aren't good at spelling, or aren't good at following directions, some people, believe it or not, aren't very good at imagining. That's where we come in. Think a little bit about what your wish scenarios are. I have a wish scenario where my income could be totally independent of my location, so that I could move and live in different places, and I'm not talking about traveling and being a tourist. I'm talking about slow travel, where I could live in a place for half a year. I could be like a migratory animal and live further south, or nearer to the equator during the winter, and near to one of the north or south poles during the summer. Could just fold up everything I own into a little backpack and hop on a train and be in the city 3 states over the next night. Because I'm better at imagining than math, I can spend hours with this daydream, and I'm not even writing. It's just one of my personal daydreams. So as artists, we want to learn to tap into what will give us real power surges of creativity. And the first thing we can do is recognize our own wish scenarios and to feed them, and this is one of the easiest ways to hook up a major source of power to your imagination, meditations, and practices. So let's just imagine that you're sitting next to the mathematician, and the mathematician is thinking, oh, wouldn't it be great to win lots of money? I mean, lots and lots of money. And that's about as far as their fantasy goes. But you could sit there and you could muse, wouldn't it be great if I had telekinetic power, but only it wasn't very strong at all. Like I couldn't lift a penny with it, but if someone were to flip that penny, I just had just enough telekinetic power that if I practiced enough, I could determine which way that penny would fall. And at first, I had this my whole life, but it was as I sometimes had the slightest inclination to wonder if I had the power, and I tried it. It didn't seem to work at all. Let's say that I dropped some things, and oh no, I didn't want my gold ring to go in the gutter, and just that one time I used my telekinetic penny to keep it from rolling in the gutter, and I thought, wow, am I telekinetic? So I tried it on something big. I tried to move a car. It wasn't working. I tried to flip the pages of a book. I couldn't get it to work. And right when I was ready to give up and not even believe that I had that power at all, just the littlest corner of a page of that book, I could get it to move just a little bit. And I spent the next 3 hours just moving that one corner. And then I tried with flipping coins, and after a year just with flipping a coin, I got so good at it that I used it as a parlor trick, not taking it seriously. Then all of a sudden I got very serious about it. I stopped telling people about this. I stopped with my cocktail party trick and didn't let anyone know about this power anymore. And then I went and got some dice, and I started practicing on the dice, and I got it so that I could, after 3 years, I got really good at controlling exactly how the dice turned up. And then I went to Las Vegas and won millions and millions of dollars. So you can see, then when we have a math problem we need solved, we can go to our friend there and say, hey, can you help us out with the math problem? And what happens if you shared your daydream with your mathematician friend? They love it. You are doing for them, you are using your particular power of intelligence to enhance their mental life in a way they never could have done on their own. So it really is true that in human society, minds join together, and together we experience mental experiences of a greater mind, where the power of your mind joined with the power of my mind together can work to a new quality of intelligence. When you analyze your favorite works of fiction for the purpose of becoming a better writer yourself, try this. Ask yourself, look at that work and say, this is a fantasy. This is meant to be someone's individual fantasy. What exactly is the nature of this story as a fantasy? A few weeks ago I was watching a movie and I was thinking, okay, there's something different going on here. What is it? And then it dawned on me, of course, this is a fantasy about the protagonist turning out to being superior to everyone. And it was very subtle, so I didn't get it at first. But realizing that it was a wish fulfillment scenario, I realized that on the surface that wasn't what it was playing out, but it was creating a draw for the viewer, for viewers who happen to, that's one of the things that they're looking for in life. That was part of the draw. It's great for us that there is a real need out there. As long as there will be people, they will always need Imagineers. They will always need professional fantasizers who can create these much more fleshed out, elaborate wish scenarios to entice people with the powers of our imagination. Okay, I'm going to venture way into the territory of unprovable opinionatedness, but here we go. Charles Dickens, his stories look at the brutality of homelessness and poverty, and looking at corrupt people in society and how they can rob others of an ability to make a decent living and have food, all these sorts of things. So when he's focused on the villains in the story, I get the feeling that he's having a lot of fun writing the things they say, the things they do, the way they carry on. And it is my impression that Charles Dickens is not all good intention. He recognizes that he has two sides. He has the good and bad. He's found both of those personalities inside himself. And instead of trying to stop the daydreams, the wish scenarios of his bad side, he uses it to create. He's having as much fun as he is when the sincere, hard-working person finally gets what they deserve. What I'm getting at is that when we're in the real world, when we're with other human beings, we can go ahead and decide to be honest and to do our best and to get along with others and not harm them in any serious way. But in terms of when we're being creative, we can recognize that we have a violent side, that we have a destructive side, as well as a creative side. And by not trying to suppress that, but by using that we can add a great richness to our wish-fulfilling scenarios. I bet you that most people who work at a bank, deep down, they would love to run in there and grab a suitcase of gold bars and turn up in some foreign country a week later. So to do right is a very powerful instinct that we all have because we're social animals. Morality and the wanting to be a good person, that's something everyone is born with. The same way one of your liver cells is born to want to be a liver cell and do the duties of a liver cell, and one of your brain cells wants to take up its part being a brain cell. To be a social animal, that is what morality is. It's to operate in a useful way in the greater organization of a society. But because we have free will, and because we are equally individuals and social animals, we also, and you know, what is it to survive? That a great deal of survival is violent. It's, you know, we may not see it, but every time you eat, you're killing something. Also, fiction is so much more than just professional fantasizing. It can be so much more than that. But looking at fiction, others' fiction, admired fiction, and works that you're working on is a great lens that you can put on to gain understanding every time you do. I hope this has been fun and informative. If you like my videos and want to get me back, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend, do the ultimate payback, and Twitter, stumbled upon, Facebook, this link. I live and die for my story, Terrible Immunity. I enjoy pouring so many hours into it every week. Please take the time to go to solimation.com and check it out. It's illustrated, put in video format at solimation.com. Terrible Immunity, it's the terrible, wonderful circumstances of my protagonist, Lily. I hope your writing goes well. I hope that you will be able to blow your local mathematician's mind with one of your stories. And I hope you have a good day. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. My recommendation is the New Yorker Fiction Podcast. You can get a podcatcher, an app, and search for New Yorker Fiction. This is a podcast where authors read their favorite short stories and they are discussed. So as far as internet technology allowing for free, high-quality education for artists and writers, this is one of my favorite examples.